This is CBC Here and Now.
We're going to stay true to the commitments that earned us this mandate. This will be a government for all of us.
The new PC government was sworn in today. Terry Roberts will take a closer look at Premier Tony Waken's cabinet.
The effects of this summer's drought are being felt by farms throughout the province. We talked to one farmer in Lethbridge about what they need to do to now adapt.
Who would have thought that we would not have rain?
That story tonight on Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Jeremy Eaton, filling in for Carolyn Stokes. We begin tonight with a mother in St. John's making a desperate plea. She hasn't seen her 5-year-old daughter in more than a month, and she says the girl was abducted by her father despite a court order meant to stop him. Now, there's a warrant for his arrest. Ariana Kelland has the story.
Without her, I feel nothing. I just want her back.
Bushra Marbuhi and her daughter have never been apart more than a night. Since March, sharing these close quarters at Iris Kirby House. It's now been more than 30 nights apart and counting.
I miss her smell, I miss her voice. I miss her when she was being stubborn and silly. I miss her little kicks when she's sleeping next to me. I miss her calling me mommy.
Marbuhi last saw her daughter before school on Friday, September 26th. That evening, her father was taking her for a sleepover.
My birthday was 29, so she said, Mommy, I made you a card for your birthday. And I kissed her and I said, thank you. Where is it? She said, it's in my bag. When I came back tomorrow, I will show it to you.
But Marbuhi didn't get the card. Her estranged husband, Ahmed El Gamal, didn't bring their daughter back the next day.
He sent me and went back to our country. And he said, if you want to raise her about our religion and our morals, you know where you can find her.
Bushra Marbuhi was worried something like this would happen. So in the spring, she went to family court to request an emergency order. It was granted, preventing anyone from taking the child out of the St. John's area. But somehow the father and child made it out anyway on a flight from St. John's International. And on Wednesday, the RNC charged him with parental abduction and contravention of a court order.
That non-removal order gave me a false sense of safety. That's why I feel so mad. No one tells me that it's nothing, it's just a paper. So why given such an order and there is no mechanism to force it?
Marbuhi has since learned there's no exit checkpoint to leave the country to flag if such an order exists. And while Marbuhi had her daughter's passports, she believes El Gamal got their daughter a new one during a recent trip.
Always me and her.
Yeah.
All the time.
She says she has asked El Gamal's family to speak with her daughter, even get a recent photo. She's gotten none of it.
I'm worried that she thinks I don't want her, or no, she's emotionally not safe. I know that.
Complicating matters is Marbuhi's immigration status in Canada. She came to St. John's in May 2024 on a closed work visa. Her application for a temporary resident permit for victims of domestic violence was denied the day before her daughter was taken. It's now under judicial review.
I can't wait that long. I need to go back there and have my child back.
Marbuhi has requested a wellness check on her daughter, even providing police with an address of where she believes she is in Egypt. But to date, she's been given no reassurances that she's okay.
Back at Iris Kirby House, there's a closet full of clothes and piles of toys without an owner, and a mother desperate to get her daughter back. Ariana Kelland, CBC News, St. John's.
For the first time in a decade, a political party other than the Liberals are leading the government in this province. A new PC cabinet was sworn in today, more than 2 weeks after winning a slim majority in the October 14th election. Here now's Terry Roberts reports.
After 6 weeks in caretaker mode, this province once again has a fully functioning government. The Liberals are out. The PCs are in with a new, leaner cabinet.
I, Tony Wakeham, do swear that I will be faithful to bear.
Meet Newfoundland and Labrador's 16th Premier since Confederation, PC leader Tony Wakeham. He will lead this cabinet of 14 PC MHAs, sworn in on Wednesday by the Lieutenant Governor. Plenty of familiar faces. 12 of those called into Wakeham's inner circle were re-elected as MHAs earlier this month. Just 2 of the 7 PC newcomers received a cabinet post.
I, Leila Margaret Ann Evans.
The critical health ministry will be led by this Labrador MHA.
I, Craig Purdy.
While this former educator takes on the finance portfolio at a time when the ledger is heavily in the red. Lawyer Helen Conway Ottenheimer was installed as Justice and Public Safety Minister, while Paul Dinn will take over in education. Wakeham lived up to his promise to create a separate portfolio for fisheries and aquaculture, with Loyola O'Driscoll taking on that role. The PCs take over at a critical juncture in the province's history. The contentious Churchill Falls MOU with Hydro-Quebec is on life support, with Wakeham promising a full review and a referendum before signing any deals.
Certainly I will be open to negotiations with the province of Quebec, but I am going to do the independent review first.
And a showdown is looming with Equinor over a Bay du Nord benefits agreement and a plan by the oil company to build a production vessel outside the province. Labor groups are demanding that topside components be built locally.
I will sit down with Ecuador in the next few weeks.
These critical files have been handed to this MHA. Lloyd Parrott will serve as Minister of Energy and Mines. The PCs made some expensive promises during the campaign. Wakeham says his government will live up to those commitments, including tax breaks.
As soon as we get in there, get the books done, and get our first budget.
All 3 female PC MHAs were given a cabinet post. None of the ministers were made available for interviews, but Wakeham had special praise for the new health minister.
She will be the first Minister of Health from Labrador. I'm clearly sending a message to people everywhere, to the people of Labrador and others, that they are part of this. Leila Evans is a great fit for that department, and she will do an outstanding job.
Wakeham says his first priority is to get a handle on the province's fragile finances. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Meanwhile, the opposition parties are reacting to those cabinet appointments. The Liberals and NDP are promising to push the PC government to keep its province and be accountable. Mark Quinn reports.
Former Premier John Hogan wished the incoming cabinet well, but said he was disappointed with some of the decisions the PCs have made.
Women and gender equality, which the Liberal government has always made as a standalone department, has now fallen under the responsibility of a minister who has other large responsibilities. I don't think that was the right thing to do.
Hogan said the government has given Minister Leila Evans too many responsibilities with both health and Indigenous affairs.
And she will have to balance that, and I don't think that they should be in under one minister. So I think that will be very difficult.
Hogan also questioned the decision to fold the responsibility for seniors into the portfolio of the finance minister.
I certainly thought it was important to focus on seniors and have a standalone seniors minister, and that doesn't exist anymore.
During the election, the PCs promised to improve health care, address the housing crisis, and the affordability crisis. The NDP says its 2 elected MHAs will be pushing for those changes in the House of Assembly.
We're going to be there to make sure that they deliver on the promises, or at least explain why they're not.
Dinn says the NDP wants to see the new cabinet get to the root causes of the province's troubles.
We've got to go back to the health accord. It's about addressing the social determinants of health as laid out in the health accord. That seems to have gotten lost in the mix and in the discussion.
Exactly when the opposition and the third party will get a chance to ask questions and debate policies is still unknown. A date for the House of Assembly to sit again hasn't been set yet. MHAs are expected to be sworn in and elect the Speaker of the House on Monday. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
A teenager wielding a gun at a Kenmount Road business is now behind bars. The incident happened in St. John's yesterday evening shortly before 7 p.m. The 19-year-old fled from one business to another, and the police K-9 unit quickly located him. He now faces several charges, including careless use of a firearm, pointing a firearm, and assault with a weapon. In other news, the drought and dryness of this past summer is affecting farming yields on the Bonavista Peninsula. From vegetable growth to the abundance of hay, farmers need to find new ways to operate. Troy Turner has that story.
A few days of rain this week is greening up fields at 3 Mile Ridge Farm, but the summer looked much different.
In the last week, because of rain, we're starting to get heads. Little, but they're there. If you squeeze that, you'll see that there's nothing there. It's just hollow. There's no head. There's no hardness there. It's still all loose leaves, but they're starting to come together.
The incoming frost, however, threatens any more yields, says Krista Chapman. She says it was a summer like no other.
Usually every year I would like to see 6 feet of snow on the ground so that when it melts, we have moisture in the ground that we plant with. Farmers are resilient, and we've been farming, and they have been farming for years. So it's a pivot. We're going to pivot, and we're going to head in a different direction. And every year, this is the thing about farming, it's like you're taking a gamble, and you get to do it differently. You get to redo it every single year.
In addition to the impact on vegetable growth, the dry summer also meant hay could not be grown at the same level.
Our hay production is usually 80 to 100 bales on what we have in our crop rotation, and this year we only got 39 out of it.
Chapman says that could mean a cull for farms who want to have feed for their animals over the winter.
Other locals who have huge herds in comparison to us need that hay. They need it for food production, either beef or sheep, it doesn't matter. And the dairy farmers, they really need hay to keep food production going for the winter. You really fight to get through the winter, or do you cull half your animals and then get these animals through really successfully, right? But then you're reducing your market share and how much you have to market.
To adapt to what now may be a new normal, 3 Mile Ridge is looking to install an irrigation system for next season. That comes with a lot of work and the spending of tens of thousands of dollars. Troy Turner, CBC News, Lethbridge.
The MSC Baltic 3 is staying put for the winter. The cargo ship ran aground in Cedar Cove in Lark Harbour on the province's west coast in February, and a cleanup and salvage operation has been going on ever since. An official with the Coast Guard says while progress has been made, the vessel likely won't be removed until next summer. That's due to oil remaining in the tanks on board.
We've gone through several discussions with MSC and the salvage company, and their endpoint wasn't good enough for us. They've agreed to continue flushing and do some more stripping. The ECRC, their contractor for response, is going to be staying on site for a little bit longer in order to make sure that all the transfers of fuel and product has taken place before they leave.
Flair Airlines is returning to the province. Starting May 1st, the budget airline will be offering flights connecting St. John's to Toronto 3 times a week. Flair Airlines says starting fares will be as low as $114. The airline had been servicing St. John's and Deer Lake as recently as the summer of 2024, but dropped the routes this year as part of a scaling back across the country. However, now the airline says it will return to St. John's International Airport.
Uncomfortably hot, really, because there's no air conditioning in the hallways.
Coming up after the break, we'll have a CBC Investigates report on seniors and air conditioning. Newfoundland and Labrador does not require care homes to have cooling systems, something which is posing big problems as summer temperatures continue to rise.
Well, temperatures today actually quite nice out there, anywhere from about 8 to 13 degrees at one point today. The hot spot across the province was Nain. That is going to change as we head through the long-range forecast, but until we get there, we've got a quiet night tonight, sun and cloud through the day tomorrow, and then we're going to talk about Hurricane Melissa. There is a potential that we will see some impacts from whatever is left over, But I'll break that forecast down for you and tell you what to expect for the little trick-or-treaters.
This province posted record heat warnings this summer, so hot that the government issued an advisory describing seniors at risk. But there are no regulations to make sure care homes keep residents cool. Ariana Kelland reports.
A lot of life is packed into this little room. 92 years of memories and keepsakes surround Eileen Elms. But when the temperature rises, this space goes from cozy to downright sweltering.
Uncomfortably hot, really, because there's no air conditioning in the hallways.
Elms lives in a personal care home. The communal lounge has air conditioning, but the bedrooms do not.
Just kind of sit and stay, try to keep cool.
There's no mandate that says long-term care and personal care homes in Newfoundland and Labrador have to keep residents cool. It's the same for much of the country. And while documents obtained by CBC News show that all but one publicly owned long-term care home offers some form of cooling, we don't know if that's the case for private personal care homes. And there are more than 80 of those.
We do know from these emails, heat was a hot topic this summer. In July, a tipster alerted the health authority to a private care home in St. John's. Its air conditioning unit had been broken for 2 months. Another message to an MHA with a complaint that Agnes Pratt home was so hot, quote, many residents couldn't keep their eyes open on the unit, unbearable for staff trying to help the seniors. All of this as the province posted record summer heat warnings, and Canada warms at about twice the global rate. Climate advocate Jennifer Penny says governments just aren't prepared.
We've, for a long time, had regulations again across the country for heating in winter. Well, as climate change progresses, if we can call it that, it's going to get hotter and hotter, and we need to think not just about the heating angle for people's survival and people's comfort. We need to think about cooling as well.
Extreme heat isn't just uncomfortable, it can kill. It can put pressure on the heart to work harder. Dehydration can be harmful to the kidneys, and seniors are also more prone to heat stroke. Health Canada warns that future heat-related mortality in Canada is on the rise and will only get worse. With a rapidly warming environment, it could increase more than 10% by 2090.
So we who think of ourselves as a cool country where we're not subject to these problems, that's very rapidly changing, and we need governments to begin to change with it.
To start, Penny believes governments must track heat-related deaths. This is already being done in Quebec and BC, but not in Newfoundland and Labrador.
When we get to the area of heat stroke, seniors are our most vulnerable population, and there, heat stroke can cause death in over 50% of cases in seniors.
So, how hot is too hot? Even in healthy adults, experts suggest sustained periods of 26 degrees Celsius can be harmful.
And seniors are at increased risk of that because a lot of them are living in congregate living facilities or, aren't able to get out and about as easily if they have mobility issues or cognitive impairments that might prevent them from being able to move about and get themselves to safe, cooler areas.
Pomeroy and Penny want protections in place to mandate how hot a room can get. Some jurisdictions already do that.
I feel they should, but I don't know if that's wishful thinking, but I think they should be made to keep more of the place cool.
The Personal Care Home Association says adding AC to all residents' rooms would be costly, but says it could be done with government help. Meanwhile, the health authority says there's been recent work on temperature control systems across long-term care, and there is an expectation that personal care homes keep residents like Eileen Elms comfortable. Ariana Kelland, CBC News, St. John's.
NL Health Services are implementing new masking requirements. Beginning Monday, you'll be required to wear a mask in all clinical areas of hospitals and healthcare facilities. This includes long-term care, outpatient clinics, emergency departments, and waiting areas. And it also applies to visitors, support people, clients, patients, and healthcare workers. However, it does not apply to patients admitted to hospital or long-term care residents. Well, it's time to check in with meteorologist Ashley Brauweiler. Ashley, I know what a lot of people are talking about and worrying about is Hurricane Melissa. What can you tell us?
Yeah. So Hurricane Melissa made landfall yesterday in Jamaica, causing catastrophic damage. Now a Category 2 hurricane crossing over Cuba and now into the Bahamas. Still very strong hurricane, though. 195 kilometer per hour wind gusts with those sustained winds as high as 160 kilometers per hour. The storm now at 974 millibars. Now, what's going to happen with Melissa as we head through the next couple of days, in fact, is it is going to head north and it is going to weaken a little bit as it does so, moving to it is about a Category 1, but will be a Category 2 hurricane. So it's actually going to strengthen as we head through the next couple of days and then head our way. Eventually, this is going to it's going to lose a lot of its tropical characteristics and become post-tropical by the time it makes its way towards our neck of the woods. Now, the difference from yesterday is we are now in the cone of uncertainty. That means that the area of low pressure, the remnants of Melissa, has the potential to track over the Avalon potentially. Now, this is this cone is where it could track. The trend has been more of a westward track, and the reason for that is because of some steering factors in the upper atmosphere. You've got an area of low pressure here in the blue, those blue colors, and then you can see Melissa there down to the south. That kind of gets picked up by a trough and essentially slingshotted pretty much right towards our neck of the woods, like I said. So regardless of where we see Melissa eventually track, it is certainly going to tap into some moisture, and I can show you that here as that cold front eventually taps into that moisture, bringing much needed rain to the Atlantic provinces, that's for sure, for just in time for Halloween. And then eventually, like I said, the potential is there to see that track close to the Avalon. Now, this is just one model's interpretation. The spread in the data is incredibly large, considering it's only a couple of days away, but that's not a surprise with these tropical systems. But regardless of where we see the storm track, it does look like we're in for a rainy Friday night into Saturday and potentially some windy conditions as well. Obviously, the track of the system will determine who sees what, but definitely going to have to keep an eye on the forecast. We may have to bring in the Halloween decoration certainly a little bit earlier on Friday, that's for sure. In behind that area of low pressure, though, we definitely have some colder air at play, and that is going to bring the potential for some snow. So what does that mean for the trick-or-treat forecast? Well, this is about 6 o'clock on Friday night. There's still a chance it'll just be cloudy. Now, we may see a little bit of cloud cover or a little bit of rain start to move in, but for the most part, it does look like the metro area, central and western portions of the island should be relatively mild, certainly for this time of year at trick-or-treat time, but it should stay cloudy. Now, there is a chance we will see some rain, but again, it's going to be windy. Those winds will be southeasterly, gusting upwards of about 60 kilometers per hour for the metro area. And then for Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and Lab City, you're looking at a little cooler. And by this point, we could be seeing that transition from rain to snow for those of you in Lab West. And then it isn't going to stop as we head into Saturday. In fact, you could see some of your first significant snowfall of the season. For now, though, we are sitting under a nice big ridge of high pressure that is going to keep things cool and calm for the most part. Temperatures today still sitting at about 10 degrees in Corner Brook, 12 in Deer Lake. That's the hot spot at the moment across the province. But as we head through the night tonight, those temperatures are certainly going to drop, especially low-lying areas through central. Expect a low near 0 or -1. Otherwise, somewhere between 1 and 5 degrees as your overnight lows. And then as we look ahead to the temperatures for tomorrow, Overall, 9 to 12 degrees will be your daytime highs. Winds will be a little breezy in the morning along the northeast coast, but those should ease as the day goes on. Maybe some showers or drizzle to start the day as well, but we should see some sunshine. And then for Labrador, overall 8 to 12 degrees, well above where you should be sitting this time of year. But like I said, snow in the long range. I'll get into that a little later.
It's been a big year for baseball. The Blue Jays are in the World Series, and in Newfoundland and Labrador, we hosted the Canada Games, and we saw the debut of women's baseball in that event. Now, what sort of impact do those two events have on registration numbers here for baseball in the city of St. John's? Somebody who knows a lot more than this than I is Kristen Coley. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, great. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're wearing the Blue Jays shirt, you're wearing the Blue Jays hat. Let's get your thoughts. What do you think of the Blue Jays run so far?
I think it's been really exciting. I think at the beginning of the season, we weren't really expecting to have such a great competitive team. So it's been really exciting to see them build and develop as a group throughout the summer, for sure.
Is it hard watching these 9:30 games, knowing that you got to be at school for your day job in the morning?
Absolutely. It's been a tough time, and I have to say it's not just me. There's a lot of people that are struggling in the morning. But, you know, that's one of the cool things about being a great team is having lots of baseball to watch.
I know when the Raptors did really well in 2019, they won the championship, basketball numbers went up. One of your other jobs is with Baseball Newfoundland and Labrador. Do you think the Blue Jays getting this far and this close to a World Series could impact the registration numbers here?
Absolutely. Some of our highest registration numbers were back in the early 90s when the Blue Jays had two great World Series winning teams. So we're hoping and anticipating some increases in registration. Like you said, the Raptors were huge for Canada basketball. So I think, you know, we're expecting to have some great registration numbers. There's a lot of interest around the team, and we're hoping that will continue to grow into 2026.
Anybody who's down here for a baseball game at St. Pat's during the Canada Games, it was blocked for men's and women's. What was it like then to be able to showcase to the local players that level of talent here over the Canada Games?
It was really exciting. It's been a long time since we were able to offer like such high-level competition in the province, especially never happened before at the girls level. So we were really excited to be able to bring that to the hometown. And like you said, we had great fan support, which really made it really exciting for our kids. And we're hoping now that some of our younger high-performance players will see that and want to be a part of it for years to come.
I know that you were the assistant coach of the women's baseball team this year. What did it mean for you you're a lifelong baseball fan, you've been involved in the sport, you volunteer in the sport, you work for the sport. What was it like for you to be able to witness that team take the field for the Canada Games for the first time ever?
There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of time and work and energy went into creating that moment. It's something that we've been wishing for years, to be a Canada Games recognized sport. So there was a lot of work behind the scenes, and seeing that all come to fruition was just incredible. And having that amount of fan support and the amount of people that just weren't really interested in baseball but wanted to come check it out was really exciting. So publicity was awesome.
Blue Jays won last night 6-2, so the series is tied 2-2. I'm going to put you on the spot. You know way more about baseball than I do. Any predictions for tonight or the next couple of for the series?
Before the series started, I was saying Blue Jays in 7. I'm still going to stick to that. Blue Jays have been a great home team this year. Not really super concerned about tonight. It is what it is. I think if they come back and they can win 2 games at home easy with the crowd support that they get. But I think it's going the distance.
Well, I'll hold you to that. But you're probably right. Anyways, I appreciate your time, Kristen. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
That's the second time in, 4 days I've been able to wear that hat on TV? Yes, bye. Switching gears now, the folks at O'Brien's Farm in St. John's are getting into the spooky spirit. Their annual After Dark haunted hike combines folklore from the farm's history with spine-tingling fun of ghostly campfire stories. We stopped by to find out more.
The guide comes in with a torch, and the audience sort of queue up around here, and then when they're settled, he comes out and does his piece.
My name is Patrick Foran, and I'm a theater artist in St. John's. Our company is called Double Shore Theater, and for 5 years we have been involved with After Dark. The O'Brien farm was settled in the early 1800s by the O'Brien family, by John O'Brien. And throughout the history of the farm, they've always honored and tried to keep up a practice of Irish culture, which for a lot of us, that's rooted in folklore. So the performances that are happening here tonight are ghost stories spun out from things we learn in Irish folklore, stories about fairies, changelings, the fetch, the banshee, the Dullahan, and it happens at night around a crackling fire. You're in a small group of strangers in the woods. It's a little chilling, it's a little spooky. So the farm is a 32-acre property, and the experience that we try to offer our audience is a bit of a hike and a bit of a ghost story. So it's a guided hike. They're led through this chicane, twisty path in the woods into some of the little hidden nooks and crannies of the property. And every so often we come across a little campfire and something happens.
My name's Aaron Rogers. I'm the general manager of O'Brien Farm. So we've got our After Dark haunted hikes. It's a lot of fun. It's a fundraising event for the farm. And it's a really fun way for us to explore history and heritage and folklore, and just give people the willies a little bit. It all kind of comes together tonight.
That's what a haunted house looks like now, and this is what one looked like in 1992. With Halloween just around the corner, we've been looking back at spooky seasons of years gone by. This witch's workshop was set up in a nightclub called Kathy's Place in Corner Brook. 92 is a solid year, just saying.
A centuries-old Mi'kmaq tradition will take you eel spearing in Flat Bay, Sunday at 11:30 and Monday at 7.
For nearly 70 years, Kathleen Noling has been embracing her love of art. Now, at 97, Noling still draws every day, and she's sharing her passion with an exhibit at the Rooms in St. John's.
My name is Kathleen Noling. I was born in St. John's in 1927, so I'm 97 years old. Thank God I've still got most of my wits. I don't mind what I paint. If someone's sitting in front of me, I'll draw them. I may not make them look just the way they look, but I'll draw them. I like actually drawing people from the back, especially now, the hair, you know, because you get a lovely shape of the hair, and then you get the shoulders, and then you get whatever they're wearing, and it makes really very interesting, kind of an abstract. I accidentally went down to the Newfoundland Academy of Art. The Shepherds were teaching there. Helen Shepherd was a very, very good teacher. And I started drawing, and I was just hooked. I was about 27, 28 then. And I've never stopped since. I get up every morning and I have a cup of tea and a banana, and I start to draw. I look through the news, which is usually depressing. Then I draw for about an hour or so. I get up about 6 o'clock, you see. Up to that time, I draw. Now, in the afternoon, I may do something. I may go fill palettes or tape paper on a board for a watercolor, or lay the initial wash for a watercolor, you know. I've got a poem up there. It's about my relationship with my husband, which was I was very lucky. I had a very happy marriage. And, you know, the two of us sitting down and reading, and a little bit of music on the radio. These are the old-fashioned days when you listen to the radio, you know. And how nice it was, you know, this kind of music, and kind of, we loved each other, and we were enjoying doing the same things. People who are drawing and talking to each other, artists who are talking and drawing together, they form a community. They're interested in the same things, and that's good. So that's what I'm really proudest of doing.
I hope I look something remotely as good as she does if I ever make it to 97. Returning now to one of our top stories tonight, Tony Wakeham was officially sworn in as the province's 16th premier today. He took questions from reporters on a variety of topics after the ceremony, including his approach to the Churchill Falls Memorandum of Understanding.
So you said that you hope to have the independent review started in a couple of weeks. Can you give us an idea of what that will look like and who will be involved in that review?
Well, that's exactly what we will be doing over the next 2 weeks, getting ready for that. But I will tell you one thing, that tomorrow I will release Michael Wilson's letter, and I'll release Michael Wilson from his non-disclosure agreement. I will talk to Mr. Wilson and inform him of that. So if Mr. Wilson wants to talk about the MOU and his role in the previous review, he certainly will be free to do so.
Premier Wakeham, Jetta Head from the CBC. What do you make of the gender balance in your party? You know, you have 3 women elected in cabinet as well. Tell me what you make of that.
Well, I'm very proud that we have 3 women elected to our caucus, and 3 women who will now represent this province in our cabinet, and I think that's a reflection. Obviously, all of us have a lot of work to do in making sure that we get more candidates on the ballot and find ways of helping people put their names forward. I've talked about that a lot, and I think that that's a challenge that we all have to take part. But I'm so proud of the people that are currently serving in my cabinet.
There's currently a negotiation oversight committee in place. What will happen to that committee? And secondly, the spring target for definitive agreements, is that now finished? Can we forget about that?
Well, that's my priority, is to get the best agreement for Newfoundland and Labrador. I have not met with the panel yet, and certainly I will be open to negotiations with the province of Quebec, but I am going to do the independent review first.
Do you have plans to meet with Hydro-Quebec?
Not at this time.
There are a number of reports that the Liberal Party had that you wanted published at the time they were commissioned, like the Rothschild report. Will you make that public as well?
Every report that I could make public will be made public. And I will have more to say on all of those, including the expert panel review report that was also done before any of the negotiations started. The public of Newfoundland and Labrador deserve to know what their government has spent their money on and what the reports say. So let's not keep that a secret any longer. Let's get it out there so people can be informed.
Premier, got to get used to calling you Premier.
Me too.
Equinor has said that it wants to make a critical decision by the end of this year on whether to proceed with front-end engineering and design on the Bay du Nord project, and it also still signals strongly that it wants to build this floating production and storage offloading vessel internationally. So what's your plan going forward in dealing with Equinor and this project?
So Ecuador has expressed their opinion on how they would like to see it built. I've expressed mine on how I would like to see it built. We both know that we have a great resource off our coast, that our oil industry needs to be kept moving, kept being developed. The Liberal government, unfortunately, didn't seem it that way. So what I want to do is I will sit down with Ecuador in the next few weeks and start those discussions.
At the last fiscal update, we found out the deficit was more than $600 million. It doesn't count money spent on wildfires this year. So fiscally, what are you inheriting right now?
It's a good question. That's one of the challenges we have in front of us, is to find out exactly where the province stands, and it's one of the first priorities. I've had a preliminary discussion with officials from the finance department, but we need to get in and we need to talk about it. And that is, again, something that has to be communicated to the public of Newfoundland and Labrador as soon as they're able to get the numbers together.
Premier, I'm wondering what you think of the applications for a judicial recount that were submitted by the Liberal Party over the weekend.
You know, it's a democratic process. I've questioned why. I mean, clearly, one of the defeated candidates had already declared he wasn't going to seek a recount. It appears the Liberal Party has decided that they want to hold up people taking their rightful seats in the House of Assembly. That's their prerogative. But I think it's nothing that's going to change anything that I'm going to be doing.
When can I and others expect our tax break on our basic income taxes? And also, when will we see those extra police officers on the streets and, refunds for students' tuitions, those kind of promises that you make?
Absolutely. As soon as we get in there, get the books done, and get our first budget.
As we heard earlier in the show, low water levels are a problem across the province, and the lack of rain has also created major problems across the country. Wells are drying up and people have been forced to find new ways to get water, but as the cold weather approaches, options are running out. The CBC's Selena Alders explains why.
Tegan Rollings must make do with bottled water for all daily tasks. The mother of two from Musquodoboit Harbor has not had running water for almost 3 months.
This is not normal, and even though we're all carrying on as if it is normal, that, there is a toll emotionally.
She checks the levels in her dug well every day, only to be met with disappointment.
We're just below 5 inches.
A well that usually holds 5 feet of water when there's a normal amount of rain. To get by, she's been relying on a nearby community well as her main water supply. But this solar-powered system was only meant to be a small volunteer-backed project, a backup water source in case of emergencies or power outages. Instead, it's become a lifeline for many, having pumped almost 30,000 gallons of water since August. Karen Bradley is one of the people behind the community well, which draws from an underground reservoir.
I think this project is an example of community taking care of itself based on the assets that it has.
This hydrologist is calling on Canada to implement a national drought and flood prediction system so local governments can ensure alternative water systems are in place.
It really has become a national disaster for Canada that snuck up on us. And here we are in October with still exceptional drought in the Maritimes and extreme drought in every province across the country.
Our big concern is that we won't get the amount of rainfall that we will need to bring our well back to any kind of normal before the ground freezes.
The community well is not winterized and will soon have to shut down. Experts say it will take a significant amount of rain to recharge the water table, and the next few weeks will be critical. Selena Alders, CBC News, Musquodoboit Harbour, Nova Scotia.
Well, Ashley, I imagine that all eyes are on Melissa and what's going to happen this weekend.
Yeah, it certainly is, especially as we get into closer to Friday and then into Saturday. Let's take a look at what's going on through the overnight into Friday morning. So then we'll start to see that area of low pressure that is going to bring significant rain to parts of the Maritime provinces. You know, that news story you just heard there about the wells running dry, this is certainly going to help. But one of the essentially tapping into that moisture and heading towards our way as we head into the afternoon and evening. Now, most models have the rain starting through the overnight period, which is great news for the trick-or-treaters, but that's not the case up across Labrador. You will be seeing some showers to start the day in Lab West. Same thing for central areas of Labrador, but you'll see your showers a little later. But in behind that is some much colder air, so you will eventually see that transition through to snow, and this will likely be your first significant snowfall as well. Daytime highs are going to be mild, 8 to 10 or even 12 degrees. Last year I was looking at the numbers for Halloween, and it was chilly, so this will definitely be a lot warmer. Up across Labrador, different story, 4 to 9 degrees as your daytime highs, but you can start to see that heavier rain moving in through the overnight and into Saturday. So this is when we will see the most significant rainfall, will be likely through the overnight and into the first part of Saturday. But most of us will be seeing rain for the island portion of the province. Up across Labrador towards the coast and along the strait will be rain, but then as some colder air moves in, then we see the potential for some accumulating snow. How much? We'll figure that out, but it could be more than 5 centimeters, that's for sure. And then for central areas of Labrador and then towards the coast eventually Saturday afternoon, you will see some of that shower activity as well, or snow rather, along with some gusty winds. Most of us will be seeing gusty winds through the day on Saturday. Now, overall, the temperatures will drop, -1 in Lab City, 2 to 5 degrees for the rest of Labrador as well as the Northern Peninsula, and then between 8 to 13 degrees across the island. So we'll continue to see that, and again, expect those gusty winds. Now, looking ahead to the long-range forecast, eventually we'll see that drop in temperatures, but it won't come until Sunday, Monday for St. John's and Eastern Newfoundland, down to about 6 degrees. We will see a similar drop in temperatures through central and western portions of the island. Even the potential for some snow in the forecast for those of you on the west coast. For eastern and western Labrador overall, you will be seeing much colder temperatures below zero. So whatever snow does fall on Saturday will be hanging around right through Monday. And then for eastern Labrador, you're looking at some windy conditions on Saturday along with rain and snow, and then flurries to round out the weekend. Our weather photo of the day is taken on the Bonavista Peninsula in Bonavista. A great shot of a sunset. Things very dramatic this time of year. Thank you, Kate. If you have any weather photos you'd like to share with us, we love seeing them. You can send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
I think, we talked about this anyways, I'm playing pickleball tonight, and the last time, we did this last night. Anyways, I love the good picture of sunrise and sunset. Anyways, Ashley and I are gonna go watching the game tonight, or?
That's right.
I imagine a lot of people.
Tomorrow.
A lot of people. I'm tired right now. Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Carolyn will be back tomorrow. Ashley will be back tomorrow, and hopefully the Blue Jays will be up 3 games to 2. Thanks so much. Have a great night.
Good night.